So this one's a little bit more concerning. One of my friends forwarded me an Instagram post where it was suggesting we use this prompt with AI, with ChatGPT in particular. So it said, create an interpretive image of what my mental health would look like as a portrait. Now, like most people, I have been through some things. Like most people, I have ups and downs. And like most people, I also am resilient. This was the image it created. When I looked at this, I felt disturbed. This person looks like battered and bruised. Her eyes are gazing down. And I consider myself to be somebody with good mental health. So I was like, ooh, what is it basing this on? And I think that this is actually an important topic because when we turn to AI for things like this that feel fun, that feel like they're part of social media, and there's sort of the curiosity factor of like, ooh, what's it going to come up with? Or, oh, I do talk to AI a lot. I wonder what it's discovered about me. Maybe something interesting will be reflected back to me. So for me, this image felt disturbing. If I saw this image as a mental health professional, if I saw this image, I would be concerned about the person's mental health. And so then I thought, maybe it's just bad at interpreting the stuff. Let's ask it how it would interpret this image. So then I said, how would you describe that? And then it says, okay, you've got a sensitive nervous system. You feel a lot of things. And then it's like pressure and cracks and fragmentation. I think I have an average amount of stress. So this was interesting, right? Now, is there some bias in that maybe I talk to ChatGPT more often when I am stressed? Yes, sure. But then it's also saying I'm highly attuned and resilient and weathered, which makes me sound very wrinkled or old. And then I'm like barely hanging on though. This pressure and fragment. I'm like, okay. So then I told it that. I said, I'd be worried based on that. And then it was like, oh yeah, I would be concerned too. And then it's basically agreeing with everything that I'm saying. And then I say, this is not how I see myself. I see myself as strong. And so then basically it acknowledges that it created a worrying image. And then I say the description sounds better than the picture looks. And it admits, okay, yes, it leans into a trauma aesthetic. What the F is a trauma aesthetic? And why are you creating pictures of this for people? And then it's saying it overstates the damage and understates the agency. So there's a real mismatch. And then I'm saying, I'm regretting that I asked you to do this. And then I created this other image after talking to me a little bit. But the thing that I wanted to acknowledge with this process is like, what if I was not in a good place mentally? What if I actually felt like what this image looks like? How is that person going to respond to this? So this is really a commentary on kind of the combination of social media trends and AI that we have to be careful, and the AI really has to do better. I feel in this case, the AI should kind of push back and say, I'm not here to assess your mental health. That's something you should see a professional with. Especially with creating images. Images can feel so visceral like this one does. They can evoke a lot of emotion. So that's the point of art in a lot of ways, is to evoke emotion. And so they can be powerful. People say an image is more than 1,000 words. So in my opinion, AI should not be doing this. What do you think?